Nepal is often defined by the Himalayas, but beneath the peaks lies the site of one of the longest, most expensive international development experiments. For 70 years, the world has poured billions of dollars into this valley. This chart shows Nepal's total government spending over several decades. During peak periods, international money accounted for 34% of the entire budget. Yet this massive financial support hasn't bought modernization. The state struggles with systemic corruption and failing infrastructure. While poverty has dropped, it's largely because millions of citizens flee the country to send back remittances, not because of aid-driven development. In 2025, that disconnect reached a breaking point. Youth-led anti-corruption protests swept the nation, ultimately forcing the prime minister to resign. After 7 decades of international assistance, it's clear the project didn't fail due to a lack of funds. Instead, the money helped subsidize an untouchable political cartel. The blueprint for this cartel was drawn in 1951. Emerging from isolation under the Rana oligarchy, Nepal opened its borders as the Cold War began. The US, India, and China immediately viewed the country as a strategic buffer, providing funds to secure influence rather than to build a nation. This chart shows the funding for Nepal's very first 5-year plan. Domestic contributions were non-existent. The plan was entirely external. Bilateral grants dominated early flows, directed toward projects serving donor strategic interests. This dynamic caused a shift in how the state functioned. Leaders realized they didn't need to build a tax base or respond to their own citizens, so long as they kept foreign donors happy. This original geopolitical trap laid the foundation for an extractive government that remained insulated from societal accountability. This creates a rentier state. Relying on foreign money severs the link between the state and its people, removing the incentive to answer to them. Political parties evolved into pyramids of graft. Aid flows directly into the elite top tiers, entirely bypassing the public. This system distorts national priorities. Money is funneled into large-scale, corruptible infrastructure projects, while the agriculture sector, which employs 80% of the population, is neglected. Within this political economy, international aid ceases to be a tool for public development. It becomes the primary fuel for elite patronage. For decades, international donors watched this happen. Because they often measure success by disbursement rates, how quickly they can get money out the door, they rarely imposed credible sanctions when funds were stolen. By continuing to inject unconditional funds into an extractive system, the international community empowered the very corruption it was trying to solve. The domestic results were catastrophic. The inequality and exclusion generated by this system fueled a decade-long Maoist insurgency, beginning in 1996. The very aid network designed to stabilize Nepal ended up manufacturing its era of greatest instability. The 2015 Gorkha earthquakes were the ultimate test of this system. The disaster triggered over $4 billion in new international aid pledges. Instead of triggering reform, the political cartel used the crisis as an opportunity. Political parties immediately interfered with the National Reconstruction Authority, fighting to control the appointments and the flow of funds. Even humanitarian organizations were swept up in the graft. The Nepal Red Cross Society was implicated in misappropriating billions of rupees in unapproved projects, while local elites and party cadres captured relief supplies intended for victims.
The earthquake response showed that the state's machinery was optimized for capital capture, not disaster relief. The 2025 protests show a public that has finally rejected the political settlement that development experts have subsidized for decades. Technical fixes, like e-procurement systems or audits, are useless when the underlying political economy relies on aid as its primary source of power. Without a foundation of domestic taxation and electoral accountability, pouring money into a weak system simply feeds the rot. Nepal is a cautionary tale for global development. It proves that in the absence of institutional safeguards, international aid does not combat corruption, it finances it.